Jungkook's explosive confrontation with Bang Si-hyuk threatens BTS's future. But a secret recording reveals shocking truths no one expected. "I'm done, Bang PD. I can't take this anymore." Jungkook's voice cut through the silence like a blade, sharp and furious. Bang Si-hyuk didn't flinch. "You think you can just walk away, Jungkook? Do you even understand what you're throwing away?" "What I'm throwing away?" Jungkook shot back. "What about what you've thrown away? My freedom? My choices? My voice? I've given everything, and now I feel like a prisoner inside my own dream." The air between them seemed to vibrate with words unspoken. Bang Si-hyuk leaned forward. "You wouldn't be Jungkook of BTS without me. Do you really want to betray everything we built? Everything your brothers sacrificed?" Jungkook's hands tightened at his sides. "Don't twist this. You built an empire, yes, but you chained me to it. Every decision you made about me was calculated, like I was a product, not a person. And now I can't even breathe without you deciding how the world should see me." Bang Si-hyuk's tone hardened. "That's the price of greatness. Do you want to be ordinary? Do you want to vanish like those nameless trainees who never made it? You were chosen, Jungkook. And you want to throw that gift back in my face?" Jungkook's reply cracked like fire. "A gift? Or a curse? You never asked me what I wanted. You only told me what I should want. Do you know how many nights I've wanted to run away, just disappear because I couldn't handle the pressure you created for me?" The room seemed to close in with every word. Bang Si-hyuk's expression darkened. "You're being reckless. You're angry now, but you'll regret this tomorrow. Don't act like a child." "I'm not a child anymore," Jungkook snapped. "And maybe I don't regret it. Maybe I regret trusting you all these years." For the first time, Bang Si-hyuk faltered, his words caught in the air before forming. Then he regained his composure. "Careful, Jungkook. You're crossing a line you can't come back from." Jungkook took a step closer. His voice lowered, but the fury didn't fade. "Maybe that's exactly what I want. Maybe it's better to cross the line than die slowly behind it." Bang Si-hyuk's jaw tensed. "And what about BTS? What about Jimin, Taehyung, the others? You think you can just tear this family apart because you're tired? Do you want to be the reason it all collapses?" Jungkook's eyes burned. "Don't you dare put this on me. You've been pulling the strings, creating cracks between us, forcing us to smile when we're breaking inside. I won't be your puppet anymore." There was silence, heavy, suffocating, dangerous. Then Bang Si-hyuk leaned closer, his words almost a warning. "If you walk out, everything you've worked for will vanish. The world will turn on you. Do you think you'll survive that kind of storm?" Jungkook didn't blink. "I'd rather face the storm than stay in your cage." What neither of them noticed was that a small red light blinked faintly from the corner. A phone, hidden, recording every word of the confrontation. Someone had been listening, someone who knew that this argument wasn't just about contracts or freedom, but about secrets that could destroy everything if exposed. "Do you realize what you've done?" Bang Si-hyuk's voice tore through the silence of the boardroom, harsh and filled with restrained fury. "I told you already." Jungkook shot back, unyielding, his tone sharp and unforgiving. "I won't be your pawn anymore. I'm not afraid of the consequences." Bang Si-hyuk slammed his palm on the table, the sound reverberating in the room. "Consequences? You think this is just about you, Jungkook? Do you even understand how fragile BTS is without your loyalty? Do you know how much blood I've shed to keep this empire standing?" "You keep calling it an empire," Jungkook retorted, his voice cracking with bitterness. "But you never call it a family. Isn't that what you promised us? A family? You lied to me from the beginning." Bang Si-hyuk leaned closer. "And what about your brothers? Do you want to betray them? Do you want them to suffer because of your selfishness?" "Don't twist this into betrayal." Jungkook's voice rose, raw and trembling with rage. "The real betrayal is you hiding deals, making choices behind our backs, and pushing us into darkness while you smile for the cameras. Do you think I don't know about the secret contracts? Do you think I don't know about the recordings?" The room went still. For the first time, Bang Si-hyuk's eyes flickered with unease. Jungkook pressed on, his tone cutting like steel. "Yes, I know. Someone recorded you. Someone exposed you. And I heard everything. You played us like chess pieces, and you never cared what it cost us." Bang Si-hyuk's hands tightened into fists. "Who told you that?" "It doesn't matter who," Jungkook answered coldly. "What matters is that I finally know the truth. All these years, I trusted you. I defended you. But you betrayed me. You betrayed all of us. Bang Si-hyuk's tone hardened. Be very careful, Jungkook. Words like that can't be taken back. Once spoken, they can destroy careers, reputations, lives. Then let them destroy mine, Jungkook shouted. At least it would be mine, not the life you scripted for me. I'm not scared anymore. Before Bang Si-hyuk could respond, the door burst open. Jimin stood there, breathless, his expression a mix of confusion and dread. What's happening here? Jimin demanded, his voice shaky. I could hear you both down the hall. Why are you screaming at each other like this? Jungkook turned to him, his anger still burning but now laced with pain. Jimin, you need to know the truth. Everything we thought we were fighting for, it's been a lie. Jimin froze. What do you mean? Bang Si-hyuk snapped, his voice sharp and commanding. Jungkook, don't drag him into this. He doesn't need to hear your delusions. They're not delusions, Jungkook barked back. Jimin, he's been using us. Every decision, every sacrifice, it was never about us. It was about power, about control. Jimin's face darkened with disbelief. That can't be true. Bang PD has always been there for us. He created us. He protected us. Protected us? Jungkook's laugh was bitter and hollow. Is that what you call it when you're forced to smile while you're breaking inside? When you're told who to be, what to say, how to live? He didn't protect us, Jimin. He trapped us. Jimin shook his head, his voice unsteady. No, you're just angry. You're overreacting. You're not thinking straight. I've never thought more clearly in my life, Jungkook said firmly. I almost walked away, Jimin. I almost left BTS because I couldn't take his chains anymore. And maybe I still will. The words hit Jimin like a blow. His voice trembled. You'd really leave us? After everything we've been through? After everything we've built together? Jungkook's voice broke, but he forced the words out. I don't want to leave you, or the others, but I can't keep living a lie. Bang Si-hyuk interjected, his voice low and venomous. Do you see, Jimin? He's blinded by his own pride. He's willing to tear apart the group, tear apart his brothers because he can't handle the weight of fame. This is weakness, nothing more. Stop calling it weakness! Jungkook roared. It's not weakness to want to live freely. It's not weakness to demand honesty. It's weakness to keep hiding behind lies. The tension in the room reached a breaking point. Jimin's voice cracked as he shouted, Enough! Both of you, stop! But silence never came. Because from the corridor beyond the open door, faint but undeniable, came the sound of muffled whispers and the unmistakable beep of a device. Jungkook's eyes narrowed. Someone's recording us. Bang Si-hyuk stiffened. His voice dropped to a dangerous growl. Who's there? The whispers stopped, but the presence remained. A shadow lingered in the hallway, unseen, yet undeniable. Whoever it was had captured everything, every heated word, every accusation, every secret that should never have escaped these walls. And then, as if the world itself conspired against them, a voice echoed faintly from the corridor. You think the world isn't ready for the truth? You're wrong. The truth is coming out whether you like it or not. The air was thick with unspoken threats as Jungkook, Jimin, and Bang Si-hyuk stared toward the darkened corridor. Whoever had spoken was gone, but the weight of their words lingered like poison. Jungkook broke the silence first, his voice sharp and vibrating with anger. You hear that, Bang PD? It's not just me anymore. Someone else knows. Someone else has proof. Your lies are cracking open. Bang Si-hyuk straightened, his tone low but commanding. Don't be naive. Whoever that was, whatever they think they have, it won't matter. Do you know how easy it is for me to silence people? Do you know how many stories I've buried before they ever reached the light? Jimin's breath caught. What are you saying? Bang Si-hyuk turned his gaze toward him, calm and cold. I'm saying that the industry is mine. Every headline, every whisper, every so-called scandal. It all bends to me if I will it. Nothing gets out unless I allow it. Jungkook's voice cracked with fury. You're admitting it then. You control everything. The fans, the press, even us. And I always have, Bang Si-hyuk said flatly. That's why you're standing where you are, Jungkook. That's why you're adored by millions. Without my control, you'd be nothing but a voice lost in a sea of forgotten dreams. Jungkook's chest heaved with the weight of words unspoken. No. Without you, I would have still been me. Maybe not the idol the world knows, but at least I would have been free. Do you even understand how suffocating it feels to live every day pretending? Pretending to smile when you're shattered? Pretending to be perfect when you're drowning? Jimin's voice trembled as he cut in, torn between them. Stop it, both of you, please. This is going too far. I don't know who to believe anymore. You believe me, Jungkook said instantly, his tone desperate, yet firm. Because you felt it too, Jimin. Don't tell me you haven't had nights when you wanted to scream, when you wanted to disappear but couldn't, because we're trapped by his system. Jimin faltered, his lips parting as if to deny it, but no words came. Hyuk seized the hesitation like a weapon. Don't listen to him, Jimin. He's lost in his own arrogance. He wants to blame me for his struggles, instead of facing his own weakness. Stop calling me weak! Jungkook roared, stepping forward. His voice echoed through the room like thunder. The only weakness here is your fear. The fear that if the truth comes out, your empire collapses. That's why you're desperate. That's why you're trying to control me. But I won't be silent anymore. The words hung heavy in the air. For a moment, even Hyuk seemed shaken. Then, from the shadows of the hallway, a figure appeared. The faint outline of someone holding a phone, recording, their face obscured by the dim light. Who are you? Hyuk barked, his composure cracking. Show yourself. The figure stepped forward slowly, and the light revealed a face that made both Jungkook and Jimin freeze. It was Taehyung. Jimin's voice dropped to a whisper. Taehyung, it was you? Taehyung didn't answer immediately. He simply held up the phone, the screen glowing with the proof of everything he had recorded, the shouting, the accusations, the confessions. Hyuk's voice was razor sharp. Delete it, now. But Taehyung only shook his head, his eyes steady and unreadable. No. The world deserves to hear this. Jungkook's heart pounded as he stepped toward him. Taehyung, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say anything sooner? Taehyung's voice was calm but heavy, carrying the weight of secrets too long held inside. Because I needed to be sure. I've known for months that something was wrong. I've seen how Bang PD manipulates, how he twists the truth. But if I said anything without proof, no one would believe me. Now I have it. Jimin's hands trembled. Do you realize what you're doing? If this gets out, it won't just destroy him, it could destroy all of us. Maybe destruction is the only way to find freedom, Taehyung said quietly. Maybe we need to burn everything down before we can rebuild. Hyuk's voice cut through the tension like a knife. You're all fools. Do you really think the world will side with you? Do you think your fans will forgive you if you expose this? They'll call you ungrateful liars, traitors. They'll turn against you in an instant. And I'll make sure of it. Jungkook clenched his fists. Then let them. At least we'll finally be honest. The silence that followed was suffocating. Jimin's breathing grew heavy, his mind torn apart by loyalty, fear, and truth. Then Taehyung spoke again, his voice cutting through the chaos with quiet resolve. I've already sent the file to someone outside. Even if you take my phone, the recording is safe. The truth will come out. Hyuk's eyes widened. For the first time, genuine panic flickered in his voice. You don't know what you've done! Jungkook stepped closer, his words trembling with rage and defiance. No, Bang PD. You don't know what you've done. You built this empire on lies, and now it's collapsing from within. And this time, there's no cage strong enough to hold us. The silence that followed Taehyung's confession felt like a blade pressed against the skin, sharp, dangerous, one wrong move away from drawing blood. Hyuk's voice broke through, calm but dripping with venom. You've just destroyed everything. Do you realize that? One reckless act, and everything you've worked for, all the love, all the glory, it will vanish overnight. Taehyung didn't flinch. If it vanishes because of the truth, then maybe it never truly belonged to us in the first place. Jimin's voice cracked. Stop! Stop saying things like that! You're tearing us apart! No, Jimin, Jungkook said fiercely, his tone raw with conviction. We were already torn apart. This just exposes it. Hyuk turned on him with a glare sharp enough to wound. And you, Jungkook, don't think you're the hero here? You're just a child throwing a tantrum because the world doesn't bend to you. Do you really think you can survive without me? Without the machine I built for you? Jungkook's answer was cold, resolute. I don't care if I survive. I care if I'm finally free. The tension escalated with every word, until Jimin suddenly shouted, his voice shaking but louder than any of them. "Stop it, all of you. Do you even hear yourselves? We're supposed to be brothers, but this sounds like war." Taehyung looked at him, his eyes dark and unwavering. "Maybe it is war. Maybe it's the only way to end this." Jimin's hands trembled. "And what if it destroys us? What if there's nothing left after this war? Have you thought about that?" Jungkook's voice softened, but his conviction remained. "Then at least what's left will be real, not this illusion we've been forced to live." Hyuk let out a bitter laugh, slow and deliberate. "You think fans will accept the real? You? The angry, fractured boys behind the curtain? No. They worship the illusion. They need it. Without it, they'll turn their backs on you, and you'll be nothing." Taehyung stepped forward, his phone still in his hand, the glow of the screen casting a faint light. "Maybe some will turn away, but maybe some will finally understand us. Maybe some will love us not as gods, but as humans." "You're delusional," Hyuk spat. "This isn't about humanity, it's about power. And right now, you're standing on the wrong side of it." Jungkook's voice cut through like fire. "No, we're standing on the only side that matters, our own." The words struck like a match to gasoline. Hyuk slammed his hand on the table again, the sound reverberating through the room. "You think you can defy me? I made you. I own you. Without me, you're nothing but shadows." Taehyung's voice was sharp, almost venomous. "No one owns us. Not anymore." Jimin's voice wavered. "And what if he's right? What if the fans never forgive us? What if they hate us for breaking the illusion?" Jungkook turned to him, his voice breaking with desperation. "Jimin, listen to me. Would you rather live forever in a cage built on lies, or take the risk of being hated but finally be free? Which matters more, being loved for something fake, or being hated for something true?" Jimin's lips trembled, but no words came. Hyuk seized the moment, his voice smooth and poisonous. "Don't let him fool you, Jimin. This isn't about freedom. It's about pride. Jungkook wants to prove he's stronger than me, but in doing so, he's willing to destroy all of you. Is that really the brother you want to follow?" Jungkook's anger flared again. "Don't you dare twist this. I'm fighting for all of us, for you, Jimin, for Taehyung, for every one of us who suffered under his control. Can't you see? This isn't about me. It's about all of us finally having a choice." Taehyung's voice joined his, steady and unshakable. "He's right. We've been silent too long. We've sacrificed too much. If we don't fight back now, when will we? How much more do we have to lose before we finally say enough?" The room erupted into chaos. Jimin shouted, Hyuk cursed. Jungkook roared. Taehyung's words cut like knives. The walls seemed to shake with the force of it. The sound of a family imploding under the weight of truth and lies. And then, just when the shouting reached its peak, the door opened again. Namjoon stood there. The leader's presence silenced them instantly. His eyes scanned the room, heavy with the weight of everything he had just overheard. "Is it true?" Namjoon's voice was calm, but beneath the calm lay a storm ready to erupt. "Everything I just heard, is it true?" No one spoke. The silence was suffocating. Namjoon's eyes locked on Hyuk. "Answer me." Hyuk straightened, his tone defensive but firm. "They're confused. They don't understand the bigger picture. I've protected them, guided them, given them everything. Without me, there is no BTS." Namjoon turned to Jungkook, his voice softer but no less demanding. "And you? Is this what you really believe?" Jungkook swallowed hard, then nodded. "Yes, every word." Namjoon's gaze shifted to Taehyung, who raised his phone silently in answer. The leader's jaw tightened. His eyes flickered with something between pain and fury. And then he whispered, almost to himself, "So it's true. All of it." Hyuk's voice rose, desperate now. "Don't let them poison you, Namjoon. You know better than anyone how much I've sacrificed. I made you leader. I trusted you. You know I've always had your back." Namjoon's eyes narrowed. His voice was low, deadly calm. "You didn't make me leader to trust me. You made me leader to control them through me, didn't you?" Hyuk's silence was answer enough. The room froze in that silence. each breath a countdown to the explosion that was about to come. The room felt like it was cracking apart, though no walls had fallen. Namjoon stood at the center of it, his presence commanding, his silence louder than any shout. His eyes moved from Hyuk to Jungkook, then to Taehyung and Jimin, each of them frozen in the gravity of his judgment. Finally, Namjoon spoke, his voice like iron, calm but crushing. So this is where we are. The truth is out, lies exposed, trust broken. And you, Bang PD, you sit there as if you still hold all the power. Bang Hyuk's lips curved in something between a sneer and a plea. Because I do. Don't fool yourself, Namjoon. You think a few angry words, a shaky recording can undo everything I built? Do you think the world will take your side over mine? The machine is mine. The narrative is mine. I can turn the world against you with a single command. Jungkook snapped, his fury spilling over. Do it then. Ruin me. Ruin us. At least then the world will finally see how rotten this empire is. Go ahead. Show them your true face. Stop it! Jimin's voice cracked, desperate, breaking apart in the middle of the storm. Why does it always have to come to this? Why is every word another knife? We're supposed to be brothers, but all I see are enemies staring each other down. Taehyung's tone was steady but seething, because we were forced into roles we never chose. Puppets on strings, smiling while bleeding. If the world sees us fight now, at least it's honest. At least it's real. Namjoon's gaze cut sharply to Taehyung. And you, Taehyung, you held the truth in your hands. You recorded everything. Why didn't you tell me before? Why did you stay silent until now? Taehyung's answer came without hesitation. Because I didn't trust anyone anymore. Not even you. I had to be sure. I had to see how far Bang PD would go. Now you've heard it yourself. There's no denying it anymore. Namjoon's jaw tightened. And what if I had chosen to deny it? What if I chose loyalty to him over truth? You were ready to gamble everything, even us, just for this. Yes, Taehyung said, his voice cold but trembling at the edges. Because I'd rather lose everything than keep living inside his prison. Bang Hyuk slammed his hand on the table, his voice booming with venom. Prison? You ungrateful children? I gave you the world. I gave you fame, fortune, worship. And this is how you repay me? By stabbing me in the back with lies? They're not lies, Jungkook roared. They're scars. Scars you gave us. You think throwing us on stage with money and lights makes up for the nights we couldn't sleep, the days we wanted to vanish, the pain we carried in silence? You don't know what you gave us. You only know what you took. Bang Hyuk turned his fury toward Namjoon. And you were supposed to control them, lead them, keep them in line. I trusted you more than anyone. How dare you stand there and let them spit in my face? Namjoon stepped forward, his voice low, dangerous, unshakable. Because I finally see you for what you are. You never trusted me. You used me. You made me leader not because of my strength, but because you knew I would carry your burden, enforce your control. You broke me down piece by piece until I couldn't tell if my decisions were mine or yours. But no more. Bang Hyuk's composure cracked, his face contorting in rage. You think you can survive without me? You think BTS exists without me? Without me, you're nothing but fractured boys with broken dreams. No, Namjoon said, his voice steady as stone. Without you, we're finally free men. The silence that followed was volcanic, heavy with the threat of eruption. Jimin's breathing quickened, his eyes darting between them, torn in every direction. He whispered, barely audible, If we do this, there's no turning back. Jungkook's hand curled into a fist. There was no turning back the moment we learned the truth. Taehyung raised his phone higher, his thumb hovering over the screen. One word, one push, and the world hears everything. Bang Hyuk's voice trembled now, the first fracture of fear seeping through. If you release that, it won't just be me who burns. It'll be you too. The world will devour you alive. You'll be hated, mocked, betrayed. The fans will leave you. The industry will blacklist you. You'll be nothing. Jungkook's reply was a whisper, but it hit like a gunshot. Then let us be nothing. At least it will be honest. Taehyung's thumb pressed down. A click, a file sent. And in that instant, everything changed. The world had already shifted the moment Taehyung pressed send. But none of them were prepared for how fast it would crumble. The following morning, headlines erupted like wildfire. Secret recording exposes explosive fight between BTS and Bang Si-hyuk. BTS members accuse their founder of manipulation and lies. Is this the end of BTS as we know it? The practice room was filled with silence, the kind that weighed heavier than any sound. Jungkook sat at the far end of the table, fists clenched, staring at the floor. Taehyung scrolled through his phone, the glow reflecting the chaos online. Jimin's breathing was uneven, his shoulders trembling as he fought to hold himself together. Namjoon stood at the head of the table, silent, unreadable. Finally, Jimin broke. His voice cracked like glass. It's everywhere. The whole world knows. Do you even understand what we've done? Jungkook's head snapped up. What he did. Not us. We didn't create the lies. We only exposed them. But at what cost? Jimin's eyes were wet with fury and despair. The fans are tearing each other apart. Half of them say we're victims, half say we're traitors. They're fighting like enemies, and it's because of us. Taehyung's voice was sharp. It's because of him. Don't forget that. He built this empire on manipulation. He created the illusion. We only broke it. Jimin's voice rose, filled with rage. And what if breaking it destroys us completely? What if this is the end? Jungkook slammed his hand against the table. Then let it end. At least it ends with the truth. Namjoon finally spoke, his voice calm but laced with an undercurrent of steel. It won't end. Not yet. This is only the beginning. The question is, do we stand together in this? Or do we let his shadow divide us further? The room fell silent again, each of them weighing the question. Suddenly, the door burst open. Bang Si-hyuk strode in, flanked by two executives. His face was a mask of controlled fury. You fools, he hissed. Do you realize what you've unleashed? Do you realize how much damage you've done to yourselves, to me, to everything we built? The board is in chaos. Investors are pulling out, and the company's future is crumbling because of your selfishness. Jungkook rose to his feet, his voice shaking with fury. Don't you dare call it selfishness. We gave you our lives, our youth, our souls, and you sold them piece by piece. You don't get to call us selfish for finally taking them back. Bang Si-hyuk's eyes narrowed. You think you're free now? You think the world will embrace you without me? Already the backlash is starting. Fans are burning your albums. Sponsors are cutting ties. Do you really think you can survive this storm alone? Taehyung stood beside Jungkook, his voice low but deadly. We're not alone. We still have each other. Bang Si-hyuk laughed bitterly. Each other? Don't fool yourselves. You think unity will save you? Look around you. Jimin is already breaking. Namjoon is calculating how to protect his own reputation. Jungkook wants to burn everything down. And Taehyung is the one who lit the match. You call this unity? This is collapse. Jimin's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. Stop. Please stop. But Bang Si-hyuk pressed on, his words sharp as blades. You'll hate each other soon enough. Jungkook, when the world turns on you, do you think Jimin will stay by your side? Jimin, when the hate becomes unbearable, will you still trust Taehyung? And Namjoon, when you watch everything fall apart under your leadership, how long before they blame you? Namjoon's voice cut through, deep and steady. Enough. The weight of the word silenced the room. Namjoon stepped forward, his gaze locked on Bang Si-hyuk. You've tried to divide us long enough. You played us against each other, forced us into roles we didn't choose, made us doubt ourselves and each other. But not anymore. We see you now for what you are. And no matter what happens next, we won't let you control us again. Bang Si-hyuk's composure finally cracked, his voice rising with unrestrained rage. Ungrateful. Every one of you. Without me, you're nothing. Nothing. Jungkook's voice thundered back. Then we'll be nothing together. But at least we'll be free. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by Jimin's quiet sobs. And then Namjoon spoke again, his words a quiet declaration, heavy with finality. This is the end of your empire, Bang PD. The only question now is whether BTS survives the fire or burns with it. The storm outside the company walls had become unstoppable. Every headline screamed betrayal. Social media drowned in hashtags BTS exposed, Bang Si-hyuk, protect Jungkook, BTS fallout. The world had turned into a battlefield of loyalty and hate, and BTS stood at the center of the fire. Inside the practice room, their sanctuary felt like a prison. The 6 of them sat scattered, each one trapped in their own silence. No one dared to speak first, not until Jungkook finally exploded. "This is exactly what he wanted," Jungkook shouted, his voice raw with rage. "He wanted us to break. And look at us, we're sitting here like cowards while he's out there rewriting the story." Jimin flinched. His words were sharp, but his voice trembled. "And what do you want us to do, Jungkook? Go to war against him? We're already drowning. The fans are confused. The company's lawyers are circling us, and the entire world is watching us tear each other apart." Taehyung threw his phone on the table, the screen still glowing with hateful comments. "Do you see this? They're calling me a traitor, saying I ruined BTS. Do you know how many times I've read that in the past hour? Do you know how it feels to be hated by the same people I bled for? Then maybe you shouldn't have leaked the recording." Jimin's voice cracked like a whip. "You set this fire, Taehyung, and now we're all burning in it." "Enough," Namjoon roared, slamming his hand against the table. "Blaming each other won't save us. We made choices, all of us. We either stand by them or we let him win." Silence fell. The air pulsed with unsaid words, too heavy to release. Then Yoongi, who had been silent until now, leaned forward. His voice was low, deliberate, cutting through the noise. "You're not thinking far enough ahead. This isn't just about the fans or the company. This is about survival. If Bang decides to bury us, he won't just do it with headlines. He has contracts. He has power. He has dirt on all of us. Do you think he won't use it?" Jungkook clenched his fists. "Let him try." Yoongi's gaze hardened. "Don't be naive. He knows things about your family, about your past, about the mistakes you think no one remembers. He'll drag it all into the light if it means destroying you." The words cut deep. Jungkook's bravado faltered for a moment, replaced by something darker fear. Taehyung leaned back, his voice bitter. "So what? We let him hold us hostage forever? That's what you're saying?" "No," Yoongi said quietly. "I'm saying we need to be ready for the war he's about to start, and war means sacrifices." The word hung in the air, like a curse. "Sacrifices." Jimin's voice cracked, almost a whisper. "Sacrifices? What does that mean?" Yoongi didn't look away. "It means one of us may have to fall for the rest to survive." The room erupted. Jungkook shot to his feet. "Don't you dare say that. We've been through everything together, everything. You think I'll let one of us be sacrificed like some pawn in his game?" Namjoon's voice was heavy, conflicted. "What if it's the only way to protect the group?" Jungkook turned on him, fury blazing. "Don't you dare, Hyung. Don't you dare say that." Taehyung slammed his hand down. "No one's getting sacrificed. Not this time. If Bang wants to destroy us, he'll have to destroy us all." But Jimin's voice trembled with doubt. "And what if the fans agree with him? What if they choose him over us? What if the world decides BTS was just a lie, and everything we built becomes nothing?" Jungkook's voice cracked with pain. "Then, let it become nothing. At least, it will be real." The silence that followed was suffocating, and then the door opened again. Standing in the doorway was Hyuk. This time, he wasn't alone. 3 lawyers and 2 board members stood behind him. His expression was calm, almost smug, as if the chaos only fed his control. "Well," Bang said softly, almost mockingly, "I see the children are finally realizing how the world works." Jungkook's jaw tightened. "Get out." Bang smiled faintly. "This isn't your room anymore. It's still mine. Everything you think you own, your name, your songs, even the word BTS, it all belongs to me. And I've come to remind you of that." Yoongi's voice was low, filled with venom. "You don't own us." Bang tilted his head, amused. "Don't I? Without me, there is no BTS. Without me, Jungkook is just another boy who sings well. Jimin is just another dancer. Namjoon is just another underground rapper. Taehyung is just another pretty face. I made you legends, and I can unmake you just as easily." Namjoon's voice cut through, cold and steady. "You built the name, but we gave it life. Without us, BTS is nothing but 4 letters on paper." Bang's smile widened, but there was no warmth in it. "We'll see how much life is left when I strip everything from you. I'll make sure the world turns on you. I'll expose every weakness, every secret, every betrayal. I'll make you watch as your fans abandon you one by one until you're begging to come back to me." Jungkook took a step forward, his voice trembling with fury. "We'll never come back to you. Not now. Not ever." Bang leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper meant for all of them. "Never is a long time, Jungkook. And trust me, I know exactly how to break each of you, piece by piece." The silence that followed was suffocating, filled with the weight of his promise. And as the door closed behind him, the six of them realized the truth. The real war hadn't even begun. The night after Bang's visit, none of them slept. The dorm was suffocating, their silence filled with the echoes of his threats. Jungkook sat in the corner of the living room, fists clenched so tightly his knuckles had gone white. Jimin sat on the couch, head bowed, scrolling endlessly through the storm of social media until his eyes burned. Taehyung stared at the ceiling, his mind spiraling into darker places with every hour. Namjoon paced like a trapped animal, while Yoongi quietly smoked by the window, his eyes hidden but his thoughts sharp as knives. Jin, who had been silent through most of the chaos, sat apart from them, as if already carrying the weight of something unspeakable. The tension broke when Jungkook finally slammed his phone against the floor, the screen cracking. "He's already started," he growled. "Look at this. Look at what he's leaking about us." They all turned to him. Jimin hesitated before asking, his voice trembling. "What did he post?" Jungkook's eyes were wild as he read aloud. Anonymous insiders claim that BTS members have been hiding scandals for years. Financial disputes, family problems, affairs, secret betrayals. He's feeding the press piece by piece, and they're eating it up. Taehyung grabbed the phone from him, scanning the headlines. His face went pale. BTS member's family involved in corruption scandal. Anonymous source claims member tried to quit before worldwide tour. Secret recording proves internal betrayals. His hands shook. "He's turning the world against us." Namjoon's voice cut through, heavy with dread. "He's not bluffing. He's going to dig into everything, our families, our mistakes, the fights we swore no one would ever know about." Jimin's voice broke, raw and panicked. "Do you know what this means? My parents, they'll be dragged through the mud. My brother, he's not built for this. He'll be destroyed." Yoongi exhaled smoke, his tone flat, but his eyes betrayed a rare flicker of fear. "He's not just trying to ruin our careers. He wants to ruin our lives." The room descended into chaos, voices overlapping, accusations flying, panic boiling over until Jin suddenly stood, his voice louder than all of them. "Stop it," he snapped. His hands were trembling, but his eyes burned with a strange intensity. "You're all talking like children, like we don't know exactly who we're dealing with. He's not going to stop until one of us breaks." Jungkook glared at him. "And what are you saying, Hyung? That we let him break us?" Jin's lips pressed into a thin line. "I'm saying maybe one of us has to fall so the others can stand." The words froze the room. Everyone stared at him in disbelief. Betrayal etched on their faces. "Don't," Jungkook whispered, his voice low and dangerous. "Don't you dare say that again." But Jin didn't back down. His voice grew sharper, filled with something between desperation and resignation. "You think I don't hate myself for saying it? But look around you. He's too powerful. He knows too much. If one of us takes the fall, if one of us sacrifices everything, it might be the only way the rest survive." Jimin's eyes filled with tears. No, don't say that, Hyung. Don't you dare put that thought in our heads." Taehyung's voice cracked like glass. "Sacrifice? Who are you planning to sacrifice, Jin? Yourself? Or are you suggesting one of us should carry the blame while the others get to live?" Namjoon's chest heaved as he struggled for words. "That's not the way. That's never been the way." But Yoongi, ever the realist, spoke softly, almost cruelly. "And what if it's the only way we make it out alive?" The air grew thick, suffocating. Jungkook lunged forward, grabbing Yoongi by the collar, his face twisted with rage. "Shut up! Don't you dare talk like that! We swore we'd never let anyone tear us apart like this." Yoongi didn't flinch. His gaze was steady, unblinking. "Maybe it's already too late." The room erupted shouts, accusations, broken voices filled with fear and fury. And then, as if the universe itself wanted to silence them, every one of their phones buzzed at once. A new headline had just dropped. This time, it wasn't vague. It wasn't rumor. It was a direct attack. Exclusive. Secret recording reveals explosive fight between BTS members, proof of betrayal within the group. Jimin's face went pale as he clicked the link. His hands shook violently as the audio played. It was them, their voices. A fight from months ago, one they thought had been erased forever. In the recording, Jimin's voice cracked with rage, accusing Jungkook of betrayal. Jungkook screamed back, cursing him, while Taehyung shouted over them, his voice filled with venom. It was raw, ugly, undeniable. The world now had proof that BTS wasn't the perfect brotherhood they pretended to be. The silence after the recording ended was deafening. Jimin's tears fell silently. Jungkook's entire body trembled with fury. Taehyung stared at the floor, ashamed, broken. Namjoon finally whispered the words none of them wanted to hear. He's already won the first battle. Jungkook stood, his voice shaking but burning with fire. No, not yet. He thinks he knows how to break us, but he doesn't know me. He doesn't know us. If he wants war, then I'll give him war. The dorm was heavy with silence, the kind of silence that suffocates more than shouting ever could. They had heard the recording play on loop across every major outlet, dissected by analysts, mocked by rivals, spun into betrayal headlines that painted them as liars and frauds. Their image, the sacred, carefully curated illusion of unity, was shattered, and there was no going back. Jungkook sat in the corner, shadows wrapping around him like armor. His hands were balled into fists, his jaw clenched so tightly it ached. The others tried to speak, tried to untangle the impossible mess they were in. But Jungkook had already made his decision. He had been silent too long, and silence had only fed the monster that was Hyuk. Finally, Jungkook rose, his voice low, sharp, dangerous. If he wants to play dirty, then I'll burn everything he's hiding. He's not untouchable. He thinks he holds the cards, but I know things about him, things he never thought would see daylight. The others froze, staring at him. Namjoon was the first to respond, his voice strained. Jungkook, stop. You don't know what you're saying. If you go after him, it'll only make things worse. Jungkook turned on him, his eyes blazing. Worse? You think it can get worse than this? He's destroying us piece by piece. Do you want to sit here and let him finish? Yoongi's tone was sharp, though his voice trembled with unease. And what exactly do you plan to do? Leak something? Threaten him back? This isn't a game. He'll crush you. Jungkook took a step closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. I'm not afraid of him. Not anymore. You think he's the only one who can manipulate the press? The only one who has dirt? He's not untouchable, and I'll prove it. Taehyung suddenly shot up, his anger spilling over. And what about us, huh? What about the rest of us when your plan backfires? Because it will, Jungkook. It always does when you act alone. The words hit like knives, and for a moment, Jungkook's face twisted with hurt before it hardened again. Maybe that's because none of you have the guts to fight him. You're all so scared of losing everything you don't even realize it's already gone. Jimin's voice cracked, a mix of pain and fury. You think we don't care? You think we haven't fought every single day just to survive this? Don't you dare stand there and act like you're the only one willing to bleed for us. The room erupted again, shouts overlapping, emotions unraveling, years of buried resentment exploding all at once. Namjoon slammed his fist against the wall, silencing them. His voice thundered with authority, but beneath it was desperation. Enough. You're all falling right into his trap. This is what Bang wants us, tearing each other apart until we're nothing. We can't give him that satisfaction. But Jungkook's voice sliced through his words like a blade. Maybe the only way to beat a monster is to become one. The words hung in the air like poison. None of them spoke. None of them moved. That night, while the others wrestled with their fears and doubts, Jungkook disappeared. He slipped into the shadows of the city, hood up, face hidden, his mind racing with plans too dangerous to share. He had contacts, old friends, forgotten allies, people who hated Bang as much as he did, and he was going to use them. Hours later, the others realized he was gone. Panic rippled through the dorm. Jimin was the first to break, his voice trembling with dread. He's going to do something reckless, something that'll get him killed. Taehyung cursed under his breath, slamming his hand against the table. Damn it! Why does he always think he has to carry this alone? Yoongi lit another cigarette, his eyes heavy with resignation. Because he doesn't trust us enough to share the burden. Namjoon sank into the couch, his hands covering his face. Or maybe because deep down he blames us for all of this. The silence that followed was unbearable. Meanwhile, Jungkook made his way to a dimly lit bar tucked into a forgotten alley of Seoul. It was a place for ghosts industry, rejects, betrayed artists, people chewed up and spat out by the machine Hyuk had built. As he entered, the whispers began, hushed but charged with recognition. He walked straight to the back, to a booth where a man in his 40s sat. Scars carved deep into his face. Bitterness etched in his eyes. "Never thought I'd see you here," the man said, his voice gravelly, his smirk cruel. Jungkook sat opposite him, his gaze unwavering. "I need information. On Bang. Everything you have." The man leaned back, amused. "And why would I help you? You're one of his golden boys. Or you were." Jungkook's fists clenched, his voice laced with venom. "Because I want to destroy him as much as you do. Maybe more." The man studied him for a long moment before leaning forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Careful what you wish for, kid. Once you start digging into Bang's secrets, there's no going back." Jungkook's eyes burned with resolve. "I don't care. I'm already too far gone." The storm broke at dawn. Seoul was gray, smothered in clouds that threatened rain. But the real storm was inside the BTS dorm, where voices collided like thunder. Sleep had been impossible. Every second felt like an eternity since Jungkook had walked out and vanished into the night. Jimin paced the living room, his hair disheveled, his eyes bloodshot from tears and exhaustion. "We have to find him," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Before he does something he can't undo." Taehyung sat slouched on the couch, his jaw tight, fury and fear simmering beneath his calm facade. "And how exactly are we supposed to do that, huh? He doesn't want to be found. He doesn't trust us anymore. He made that pretty damn clear." Namjoon sat at the table, his head in his hands. His voice was hollow, heavy with guilt. "I should have stopped him. I should have said something, anything different. I let him walk out, and now—" Yoongi leaned against the window, a cigarette burning between his fingers. His voice was low, sharp, and unflinching. "Now he's probably already in too deep. Do you know who he'll go to? The kind of people who want nothing more than to use him as a weapon against Bang? Once he opens that door, there's no going back." The words hit them all like a blade. Silence followed, thick and suffocating. Then, the sound of the front door unlocking broke the tension. They froze. The door creaked open, and there he was, Jungkook. His hood was pulled low, shadows concealing his face, but his presence was electric, volatile. Jimin rushed to him instantly, grabbing his arm. "Where were you? Do you have any idea what you're doing to us?" Jungkook yanked his arm free, his eyes burning with defiance. "I know exactly what I'm doing." Namjoon stood, his voice firm but pleading. "Jungkook, listen to me." "No!" Jungkook's shout was sharp, cutting through the room. "I'm done listening. I'm done waiting. Do you even realize what Bang has done to us? To all of us. He's been pulling our strings, covering up, manipulating, controlling. You think the scandals, the rumors, the betrayals, all of it just happened? No. He orchestrated everything. And I have proof." The words froze them in place. Yoongi's eyes narrowed. "Proof? What proof?" Jungkook smirked, pulling a flash drive from his pocket and holding it up between two fingers like a weapon. "Enough to burn him down." Taehyung shot to his feet, panic flashing in his eyes. "What the hell did you do, Jungkook?" Jungkook's voice dropped to a whisper, dangerous and raw. "I got what he thought no one would ever find. The files, the recordings, deals with politicians, backroom payoffs, ruined careers he buried so deep the world forgot. I have it all, and I'm going to release it." Jimin's face crumpled, torn between relief and horror. You can't. If you do that, it won't just destroy him, it'll destroy us too." Jungkook's laugh was bitter, hollow. "Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe the only way to be free is to burn everything down." Namjoon's voice shook with desperation. "No, Jungkook, don't you get it? He wants you to do this. He's probably counting on it. If you go public with whatever you have, he'll twist it, spin it, and make you look like the traitor. And then what? We lose everything. And he walks away clean." Jungkook's fists clenched, his eyes blazing. "Then I'll make sure he doesn't walk away clean. I'll make sure the world knows the monster he really is." The air was thick with tension, every word heavy with the weight of consequences none of them could escape. Then Yoongi spoke, his voice low and steady, but cold enough to pierce through the fire. Do you even hear yourself right now? You're not trying to save us. You're trying to destroy him for your own revenge. This isn't about us anymore, it's about you. The accusation hit Jungkook like a gunshot. He spun on Yoongi, his voice shaking with fury. And what if it is? He's ruined my life more than any of you know. He's kept secrets from me, things about my family, things I can't forgive. And if you can't see why he needs to be taken down, then maybe you're all too blind to stand with me. The room was silent, the others too stunned to speak. Finally, Jimin's voice cracked as he whispered, "Then what are you saying, Jungkook? That you're willing to do this alone?" Jungkook's gaze swept across them, filled with fire and finality. If I have to." And then, without another word, he turned and stormed toward his room, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The rest were left in the ruins of his words, fear clinging to them like a curse. Yoongi exhaled smoke, his voice low. "This is it. He's gone too far. If we don't stop him now, he's gonna take us all down with him." The morning headlines hit like grenades. Jungkook's face was everywhere. Not the glossy magazine covers that once worshipped his image, but screenshots, grainy photos, and bold blood-red headlines screaming words that could never be taken back. BTS's Jungkook leaks explosive evidence against Hybe chairman. Bang Si-hyuk's empire at risk scandal, bribery, and betrayal allegations. Army divided. Is Jungkook hero or traitor? The television blared in the background of the dorm's living room. News anchors speaking in panicked tones. Voices layered over each other with footage of protesters already gathering outside Hybe's headquarters. Jimin stood frozen in front of the screen, his hands trembling as he clutched the remote. He actually did it. Taehyung shoved a chair back, the wooden leg scraping violently against the floor. That idiot! Does he have any idea what he's unleashed? Namjoon's face was ashen, his entire body taut with restrained panic. He pressed his fingers against his temples, trying to think, to calculate. But every second felt like a noose tightening around his throat. It's out there now. There's no taking it back. Once those files hit the internet, it's impossible to erase them. Yoongi didn't move from his spot near the window, cigarette smoke curling lazily above him despite the chaos. His eyes, however, were sharp, piercing through the haze. This isn't just reckless, this is war. Jungkook just declared war on Bang and dragged us all into it whether we like it or not. As if summoned by their words, the door to Jungkook's room creaked open. He stepped out, his expression unreadable, but the fire in his eyes burned like gasoline meeting a spark. The weight of his actions clung to him like armor, making him look both untouchable and terrifyingly fragile at once. Jimin was the first to break. He launched forward, his voice raw with desperation. "Why, Jungkook? Why would you do this without telling us? Without even giving us a chance to stop you?" Jungkook's lips curled into a bitter smirk. "Because you would have stopped me. Because you're all too afraid of losing what little you think you still have left. But me? I've already lost everything. And now I've made sure Bang will too." Taehyung's voice cracked as he shouted. "Do you even hear yourself? You didn't just go after him, you went after all of us. Do you know what this means for our careers, our families, our lives?" Jungkook's eyes snapped to him, sharp and merciless. "Good. Maybe it's time all of you stopped pretending everything was fine. Maybe it's time you all faced the truth instead of hiding behind Bang's lies." Namjoon stood slowly, his voice trembling with fury. "And what truth is that, Jungkook? That you've made yourself a martyr at the expense of the people who stood by you all these years? That you've just painted a target on our backs for every enemy we've ever had?" Jungkook's reply was a whisper, yet it carried like thunder. "The truth is that Bang built us on blood and secrets, and I won't be complicit anymore." The room was electric with rage and fear, each breath like gasoline feeding the flames. Then, suddenly, the television volume spiked as breaking news interrupted. The anchor's voice was urgent. "This Justin Bang Si-hyuk has officially released a statement denying all allegations, claiming Jungkook has been manipulated by outside forces. Hybe has announced an internal investigation and accuses Jungkook of breaching his contract and fabricating evidence. A lawsuit is expected to be filed within the next 24 hours. The room spun. Jimin staggered back, covering his mouth. He's turning it back on you." Jungkook's fists clenched, fury twisting his features. Of course he is. That's what he does. Twist everything. Control the story. But it won't work this time. The files are real, and I'll prove it. Yoongi crushed his cigarette into the ashtray, his voice colder than ice. You just don't get it, do you? It doesn't matter if the files are real. It matters who controls the narrative. And right now, that's not you. The words cut through Jungkook, but he didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped closer, his gaze burning into Yoongi's. Then I'll take the narrative. I'll go public. Interviews, press conferences, whatever it takes. I won't be silenced. Namjoon's control finally snapped. He slammed his fist onto the table so hard the wood cracked. You'll destroy us all. Don't you get it? There won't be a BTS left when you're done. There won't be anything left but ashes. Jungkook's voice broke, a mixture of rage and pain spilling out. Then maybe ashes are better than chains. The silence that followed was suffocating, broken only by Jimin's quiet sobs. His tears fell freely now, his voice trembling. Please, Jungkook, please stop before you lose us too. For the first time, Jungkook's expression faltered. For the briefest moment, the fire in his eyes dimmed, replaced by a flicker of something vulnerable, something human. But it vanished, as quickly as it appeared, swallowed by the storm raging inside him. I can't stop, he whispered. Not now, not ever. And with that, he turned and walked out, the slam of the door echoing like a final verdict. The others stood in the wreckage of his choices, knowing the battle had only just begun. Yoongi broke the silence, his voice heavy with dread. We need to decide right now. Are we going to fight him or stand beside him? No one answered. The city outside was buzzing like a hornet's nest. Protesters chanted Jungkook's name in one street, while others screamed loyalty to Hyuk in another. Police barricades split the avenues. Cameras flashed like lightning, and the world seemed to teeter on the edge of something irreversible. Inside the dorm, silence hung heavy. No one had slept. The air was stale with coffee, cigarette smoke, and fear. Taehyung sat on the edge of the couch, his knee bouncing furiously, his jaw locked tight. Jimin was curled in the corner, eyes bloodshot, clutching a pillow like it was the only thing anchoring him. Namjoon paced relentlessly, back and forth, his mind burning holes in the floor with every step. Hoseok sat by the window, watching the chaos outside, his hands pressed together as if in prayer. And Yoongi hadn't spoken since last night. He just sat in the shadowed corner, unreadable, his sharp eyes following everything but revealing nothing. The door opened. Jungkook walked in. He wasn't the same boy they had once protected, teased, and cherished. His eyes were hollow but burning, his presence electric, dangerous. He had the aura of a man walking through fire, with no intention of coming out unscathed. Did you see it? Jungkook asked flatly, his voice carrying no warmth. The world's finally watching. They know what Bang really is. Namjoon stopped pacing, his fists clenched. What they see, Jungkook, is a mess, a scandal that could bury all of us. Do you even care what you've done to this group? Jungkook's gaze flicked to him, sharp and unflinching. I care more than you ever will. That's why I'm doing this. You think silence is loyalty, but it's not. It's cowardice. The word hit like a slap. Taehyung shot up from the couch, fury snapping his composure. Don't you dare call us cowards. You think you're the only one who's been suffering? The only one who knows Bang's lies? We all lived through it too. We all carry the scars. But we stayed for each other, for Army, for the family we built. What you're doing isn't bravery, it's selfishness. Jungkook stepped closer, his jaw tight, his voice low but razor sharp. You call it selfish. I call it survival. I won't let him control me anymore, Taehyung. Not him. Not anyone. Jimin finally snapped, his voice breaking through the tension like shattered glass. And what about us, Jungkook? His eyes were wild, wet with tears that refused to stop. Do we mean nothing to you? You're tearing us apart while you play hero? You say you're fighting for freedom, but you're killing the only thing that's ever been real us. The room went silent. Jungkook froze. For a heartbeat, something flickered in his eyes. Pain, regret, love, but it drowned quickly under the weight of his conviction. I never wanted to hurt you, Jungkook said quietly, his voice trembling almost imperceptibly. But I can't protect you by staying silent. I can't protect anyone like that. Yoongi finally spoke, his voice calm but cold, like a scalpel slicing through flesh. You're lying. You're not doing this for us. You're doing this for yourself. Don't pretend otherwise. Jungkook's head snapped toward him, eyes flashing. Say what you want, Young. At least I'm doing something. At least I'm not sitting in the dark watching everything burn, pretending it's fine. Yoongi stood now, slow and deliberate, his presence filling the room like thunder. You think you're fire, Jungkook, but you're not. You're gasoline. And one day, you'll realize you weren't burning Bang, you were burning everyone who ever loved you. The words hung like smoke, suffocating, irreversible. Jungkook's breathing grew ragged, his chest heaving. But before he could respond, the television flared again with breaking news. Hyuk has filed a formal lawsuit against Jungkook for defamation, breach of contract, and malicious intent. Chairman Bang Si-hyuk personally denies all accusations, calling Jungkook's actions the result of manipulation by rival companies and internal betrayal. Legal action will proceed immediately. The air drained from the room. Hoseok whispered, It's happening. They're going to destroy you, Jungkook. Legally, financially, everything. But Jungkook didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped toward the screen, his reflection staring back at him. Let them try. I won't back down.